Hey guys, this is Don Chin, longtime movie fan, comic book veteran, writer, editor, publisher, and I'm doing a fanboy special edition today. And the main reason is that I was perusing the internet this week and I came across this article yesterday from Bleeding Cool, and it's about Bill and Ted. And I'm a huge Bill and Ted fan. I grew up watching the movies in the 80s and um, watched them over and over again. And I'm even doing a kind of a Bill and Ted parody book that I'll discuss in just a little bit. But I wanted to kind of read you this article and tell you more about a recent reuniting of both actors, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, who are the main stars of the movie. And there were two previous movies, and then they came out with Face the Music this year in 2020. And I plan to do a separate review of that movie, which I watched when it was released a little bit earlier this year. But anyways, this is from Bleeding Cool's website, and it's written by Tom Chang. And I want to kind of read it to you because I thought it was interesting. It says, fictional and real life best friends Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter opened up about how their relationship endured for 30 years, over 30 years, from the audition process of the first Bill and Ted film in Excellent Venture in 1989 to the recent Face the Music 2020. And to promote the film on Blu-ray and DVD, the pair appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon to share stories about finally making it because of the movie, the adventures of fame attached to being involved with the franchise, and the things they did to prepare for the third film after a 29-year hiatus since Bogus Journey, which was in 1991. So this little still they have is from the most recent movie, and Kristen Shaw is in this movie as well. She plays Rufus's daughter, and Rufus was George Carlin's character, who unfortunately he passed away and could not be in this movie, but she's brought in to kind of take his place. And Kristen Shaw's very funny. She was in that Will Forte Fox comedy about the last man on earth, and she was very funny in that. But anyways, so it says Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter's Bill and Ted memories. Winter reflected on getting to project finally off the ground up. I don't know if that's the right sentence there. On I think he meant to have the project finally off the ground. A little typo there. It's uh, uh, my journalism background catching that. Off the ground up until he and Reeves would get back into character and perform the voices. The writers, Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson, were looking at us like, are they going to do it? He laughed. The actor and director bonded with his co-star Reeves, despite not thinking that they'll get the part. He says, we became friends over the arduous audition circuit, Winter continued. And Jimmy Fallon revealed he disliked auditions and came to reveal some Bill and Ted paraphernalia himself during their including their cinnamon-flavored breakfast cereal. The pair jokingly warned him not to eat the vintage cereal. Winter mentioned at the time of the first film's release, neither he nor Reeves were informed by Orion Pictures or MGM of branded items and recalls finding Bill and Ted-themed grocery items. When the subject shifted to the Grammy Award nomination for Face the Music soundtrack, the attention focused on Reeves going above and beyond learning multiple instruments during their musical performance at a wedding. Keanu actually learned every instrument he played, which was hilarious, said Winter, and with Reeves adding that he learned one note of all of them. The Matrix star played the theremin, bagpipes, trumpet, and other percussion instruments. Winter throat chanted. So Bill and Ted Face Music is now available on home media. So I watched it a couple months ago when it was first released on streaming. So I paid the full like $20 fee for it, and I'll give you my opinion on whether I thought that was worth it in a separate review. But in this article, Bleeding Cool posts a Twitter link, and so if you go to the Twitter link, and I'll post all these links to the articles in the Twitter and the YouTube interview in the comments below, and you guys can just check that out. So if you go to the Twitter link, which is on Fallon's page, I can't play the full interview for copyright purposes, but I'll try to play it. And
what was the craziest Bill and Ted thing that you
turn down
saw?
the sound here. So anyways, this little 1 minute snippet kind of goes into Jimmy revealing the Bill and Ted cereal, like in vintage box. I wonder if the cereal's even still in there, but I'd be curious to know if you went onto eBay, how much that cost you. I would buy it, but I don't know if I would spend like $40 or $50, but I know there are some collectors that are out there. That looks like a really tiny box, by the way. It doesn't look like a full-size cereal box. I'm kind of wondering if they had any type of giveaway incentive in that box. But when Jimmy pulled that out, Alex said that's giving him PTSD, just seeing that memorabilia. So I thought that was pretty funny. But they're very jovial still. You can tell they still have a lot of energy. Keanu is as animated as ever. The guy never ages. And so, anyways, you can watch the snippet, and then if you feel like you want to watch the full YouTube video, you can go to that. And so you can come here to the full one. Like I said, it's almost like a 7-minute interview. And in the interview, they talk about what it was like to audition as young kids. Did they know each other before they went, before they got the parts? And actually they did, because I think they had been trying to audition, on other roles as well. And back at that time, Keanu was just getting started. I mean, I think the movie that kind of launched his career was Parenthood with Steve Martin. And then after that, he did this movie, and it just went nuts. I mean, this was his launching pad. And then, he segued from doing comedy to more of the sci-fi cyberpunk stuff, like Johnny Mnemonic. And what else did he do? He did, I think there was a Cyberpunk 2077 that he was attached to that's finally being made. But he seems to really like the virtual reality stuff, which I think is cool. He's kind of a forward-thinking guy. If you saw the movie Replicants lately, that I think came out in the last couple of years, it's about Keanu's family dying in a tragic accident, and he's like a super well-known cloning scientist, and so he clones his family, and then just has to deal with the repercussions of trying to live with them, and their personalities are how they've changed from the real people. And so highly recommend Replicants. We own that one, and I like it. I'll probably review that one as well. But this is a great interview with Jimmy. He's definitely a fan. They talk about the latest movie, how long it took to get to the point where they actually made it, how many years it took to get the financing, and the director, Dean Parisot. Dean Parisot actually is one of my favorite directors. He did Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver. And that one, I mean, I watched it over a dozen times and kind of know it by heart. So when I learned that he was going to be directing this movie, The Face of the Music, I really had high hopes, because since Galaxy Quest, Parisot hasn't really done much. And so, like I said, I was really looking forward to that exploration of these guys teaming up. And anyways, they also talk about what it was like to work with George Carlin, because these guys were just little, teenagers at the time. And Carlin was a well-known stand-up comic, very edgy, wasn't afraid to curse, kind of like the Richard Pryor of my era, the 1980s. And Carlin's hilarious, and I really wish that he could have been in this movie, but unfortunately, like I said earlier, he passed away. But they just said he was really nice to work with, and that they had fond memories of doing that. So anyways, I'm gonna move on and let you know that Keanu's doing a lot of stuff these days. You've probably seen the John Wick movies. Yeah, I was kind of behind the curve on John Wick, and number one came out, and I heard it was pretty violent, and I didn't ever watch it. And then obviously it was so successful that they released John Wick 2, and then John Wick 3 came out. So just earlier, maybe a couple months ago, my wife and I said, well, why don't we give it a try? So we just went ahead and bought the all three of the movies on online to own, and I really like them. I mean, they're very very action packed. Um, the hero, the protagonist, Keanu is awesome. And once they, spoiler alert, once they killed off his dog in the first movie, I thought everybody needs to pay because that dog, the puppy dog in this movie that they introduce after he's lost his wife to cancer, is just adorable. And then they just kind of rip your heart out when these thugs come in and try to mess up John Wick's life. And so that's kind of what sets John Wick off. Just the loss of his wife, the loss of his dog, and these Russian mobsters are basically looking to snuff him out. But it's a great series. I'll probably do some separate videos about John Wick. But anyways, there's where he brings out the cereal, and these guys are laughing. That's kind of the clip that they took from the Twitter. But I also wanted to let you know about the Bill and Ted spoof that we're doing. It's actually kind of a combination of a Bill and Ted spoof and also a spoof of Keanu Reeves' most recent comic book project. Now, he's never worked on a comic book before, but everybody is excited in comic book land and Keanu Reeves fandom about Brzrkr, which is a book that was announced a couple months ago on Kickstarter. It's being produced in conjunction with Boom Studios, which is kind of a smaller independent comic book company that has some licenses and so forth. But anyways, this kind of just came on the scene like a mammoth a couple months ago when it was announced that Keanu was going to be co-writing a comic book series. So Brzrkr, as you can see on the Kickstarter page, it says it's a graphic novel series about an immortal warrior seeking only one thing, the truth about his blood-soaked existence and how to end it. So they announced the campaign, and in just a matter of a couple weeks, it had gone bonkers. I mean, there's almost $1.5 million pledged of a $50,000 goal. So it just smashed everybody's expectations. I'm not sure if it's the highest crowdfunding comic book to date. I don't think it is quite yet, but it definitely is up in the top 5, and it has almost 15,000 backers on it. So it's supposed to come out like in September of next year, and you can kind of tell that the character looks a little bit like Keanu, and there's a trailer, and he talks about this project, and he's very animated about it and really excited about it. Let's see if we can get that going.
Comics are awesome. Brzrkr's got everything that you want from a comic book. It's got great drawings, colors, great story. It's got action, has a little romance, and it's about something.
So I don't want to play the whole trailer, but you kind of get the gist. Keanu's creatively involved in this. He looks like he's kind of talking to you from inside a camping tent for some reason. But the artwork looks really good. It's by some professional guys with credits, probably with Marvel and DC. I think Ron Garney might have worked on Captain America back in the day. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. They kind of tease a little bit of artwork. He looks a little bit John Wickish, kind of in a foul mood. He's got blood and bandages and obviously a lot of tactical gear on him and so forth. So anyways, Brzrkr is going to be big. It already is big. And so what better way for a fan like me, you know, to honor Keanu, and that would be for us to obviously parody uh, Brzrkr. So we're working over here at Parody Press on a book called um, Beardzerker, and we've got the script already written. Bill Mouse will be our artist. He's worked on a lot of parodies with me since the 1990s. He does great superheroes and stuff. And so we've got covers coming and interior artwork. It'll be a full color 32-page book. Our character looks a little bit like a buff Keanu, but obviously that's not his name. So anyways, this is just kind of a little video that one of my talented friends, Stephanie Renee, he just recently uploaded this on YouTube, and I'll have a link to that as well. But he's phenomenal. He's from out of this country, out of the United States. I'm not exactly sure. I think he might be Spanish or maybe from Portugal or something like that. But he's an awesome colorist, and so we gave him this black and white artwork from Bill, and we said, hey, can you kind of make this really look cool and make it kind of look like a cool pinup and stuff? So he went and did his magic, and he kind of has this cool time-lapse video that he posted on his channel. So you can just see him go to work on this. Let me turn down the volume a little bit so I can talk. So anyways, our character, Beardzerker, he's basically been in suspended animation for about 30 years. So he's a teenager like the Bill and Ted guys, but then he gets into a NyQuil-induced coma, and he doesn't wake up for quite a while. But when he wakes up, he's totally buff because they've been programming his body, even though he's been in a coma, with a computer chip. So they've been downloading fighting techniques, combat movies, and so he wakes up basically a teenager, but in a Conan type body, and he's told that he needs to right the world's wrongs, a lot of the wrongs that our modern society faces. So I'm not going to spoil it and tell you what those wrongs are. You'll just have to kind of stay tuned with the book. But that little axe thing in the back on his back, that's actually a guitar axe. And so Beardzerker is powered by the rock gods like Eddie Van Halen, Slash, ZZ Top. And you can tell by our logo, which I'm going to show you at the end, we were a little bit inspired by ZZ Top. I'll try to scroll here to the end so you can see what the finished product looked like that Stephanie did for us. So yeah, he's almost done with the coloring, and I think he shows a little. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even close to being done here. Okay, so let me just keep playing it towards the end. The video is about 8 minutes long, and he just kind of shows how he goes into coloring a black and white. A little bit faster here. Yeah, okay, so you scroll up, and there's the Beardzerker logo. And it's a homage to ZZ Top. I grew up in the 80s, and there's a lot of cameo appearances by musicians in Beardzerker. But we'll be launching this book fairly soon. If you want, you can go to get more details at our website, which is parodypresscomics.com. That takes you to our Facebook page. We also have a Twitter, which is at parody_press. And the Beardzerker.com will actually take you to the website, and then we actually go to launch the campaign. It'll take you to the campaign where you can actually buy the comic book and back it. We'll be offering original artwork for sale, signed copies, and still working on like some stretch goals, like some cool swag for people that, you know, if we can hit certain dollar amounts on the backing, we will definitely be rewarding our fans for backing us and so forth. But I'm really excited for Beardzerker. I want to thank you guys all for listening today and sharing the love of Bill and Ted and of comic books. And so until next time, this is Don Chin signing off. Please check out X-Farce Reloaded at xfarce.com.